For our next example here, we're going to be looking at a certain test given in the first trimester of pregnancy. It's what's called the triple blood test, and it tests for Down syndrome. Now, the sample here is women over the age of 30, and that's important because the results here are probably not generalizable to every age group. So we need to be specific about our sample so we can know the population we're actually talking about. Now we're going to dive straight into conditional probabilities here. So our first question is, out of the kids born with Down syndrome, which percent actually had a positive test? To answer this, we go ahead and we pull off our categories here. We are narrowed down to kids with Down syndrome. So that's going to be my bottom number here. And then I want to know, out of the kids with Down syndrome, what percent had a positive test? So this is a category I'm focusing on. So in short, when I find this probability here, I'll go ahead and I'll put the number with Down syndrome on the bottom, and on the top will be the number with Down syndrome and a positive test result. I can write this as the probability someone had a positive test result out of all the kids born with Down syndrome. Plugging in my numbers here, I notice that the total number born with Down syndrome is going to be 54. So I'll have a 54 on the bottom. And then on the top here, I need the number who have Down syndrome and a positive test. So looking only in that top row, only the kids with Down syndrome, I had 48 with a positive test. So the top number will be 48. So 48 out of the 54 kids with Down syndrome had a positive test result, or 0.8889, rounding to 4 decimal places. That is 88.89% of kids with Down syndrome in this study had a positive test result. Looks pretty good. So let's ask a slightly different question then. Let's say you got a positive test result. What are the chances the baby was actually born with Downs? First thing we need to realize here is our categories have kind of switched. That is, if you actually get a positive test result here, what are the chances the baby actually has Down syndrome? So writing this out in our notation, we're asking, what are the chances the kid has Down syndrome if they got a positive test result? Now, notice our categories are kind of switched here, right? So this is, okay, you got a positive test result. What are the chances the baby actually has Downs? When I set this up, I'm going to go ahead and put the number of positive test results at the bottom, because that's the category I've narrowed it down to, if you get a positive test result. And on the top here, I need to include the number who have a positive test result and Down syndrome. Based on this information I'm looking for, I'm going to be looking at only those who have a positive test result. That is, I'm going to be looking at only this column right here. So looking only at this column right here, I need to know, first of all, how many had a positive test result. And that's 1355. The number on top here will be the number who are positive and Down syndrome. So looking at this, positive and Down syndrome is going to be this number right here, 48. So that'll be on top. In short, out of the 1,355 women who got a positive test result, 48 had babies with Down syndrome, or 0.0354. Now this should cause you to pause for a second, because what this is telling us here is you go in, you get the triple blood test in the first trimester of your pregnancy, and if you get a positive on it, it looks like there's a 3.54% chance the kid actually has Down syndrome. Big question here. Does this look accurate? And second question here, okay, so if you go in and get a positive test result, what are the chances the baby doesn't have Down syndrome? Well, if there's a 3.54% chance the kid does, chances they don't would be right around 96.46%. So if you get a positive test result on this test, it actually looks like it's way more likely that your kid's born without Down syndrome than that child's actually born with it. So the question is, okay, this test looks like it sucks, and telling a woman that her child is going to be born with Down syndrome or even has an elevated risk of Down syndrome with an inaccurate test in the first trimester might not be the best idea. So the question is, once again, what's up with this test?